So we take respiratory samples from patients. Most often that's a swab that has been collected and comes to the lab. We then take that swab and we want to get all of the viral RNA off of that swab. So we do a process called extraction where we're adding some different liquids to it that help purify out the RNA. And then we take some of that RNA and we put it into a different mixture of liquids that contains some tools that help us amplify copies of it. So we make lots and lots of copies specific for that viral RNA sequence, and then we can detect it through a fluorescent signal on a different instrument. And that's what helps us determine if a patient's respiratory sample is positive or negative for COVID. I review every single run that comes off that instrument with my staff because it is so important to have that diagnosis one way or the other. So I see every positive curve, and then we're calling it to the physicians immediately to let them know, hey, this patient is positive. I got together with the team in my laboratory. We have a brilliant development technologist named Cassie Bolster, and we sat together and said, okay, how can we do this ourselves? Can we run a similar type of assay on the equipment and the instruments that we have? So in this case, we're using equipment that we use to test for all kinds of other things. We test for a bunch of different viruses and bacteria and fungi in our lab. So we're using the same kind of principles that we use to test for those things that we see in our patients every single day, and just kind of manipulating them a different way to test for this novel virus. I think our first successful run, when everything looked beautiful and the data was exactly what we needed it to be, the controls looked great and the samples had the results that we expected. We high-fived and felt really good about, we can do this. And we brought in a whole new type of reagents that would help us double our capacity. So in a matter of a week, we quadrupled our capacity for testing. I think as an organization, we're doing tremendously well. You talk about man hours that are going into how we can manage this and being prepared. There are so many people at the table working incredible hours to make sure that we are ahead constantly. I've just seen such tremendous teamwork and cooperation and support. But I think what's been so clear in this process is now people sort of know who we are because we're providing this amazing service.